Good morning, welcome back to the channel. We are out here in the garage and we're about to get started on the 5th gen. It's Monday morning now. Anyways, we're out here working on this 5th gen and we're gonna put the head studs in now. We got it all tore down on Friday and we are going to put head studs in it and mount the manifold today, or mount the exhaust housing and rerun some coolant lines real quick. And yeah, we'll get this thing, I'll see if we can get it most of the way buttoned up today, and should be ready to rip here within the next couple days, hopefully, and ready to go home. So yeah, I'm gonna get into it. I'll update you guys here in a little bit. It's been about an hour probably since we have started, and man, I'm still sunburnt, wow. It's been about an hour since we started. We got all the head studs in. Everything is pretty much the same as any other year truck on these 5th gens. Minus the fact that the grill is just an absolute pain to get over the front of it. Like, you can see how low the motor is down in there, and without a topside creeper and this painted to front match and this painted to match front end, you would really be struggling unless you had a good high platform and just tape the whole front of it real good. But with this thing, I just have this little cushion on it, tape all this off, and you're able to it's just really not the most comfortable thing in the world. You can see how high I have to have this, and then the one lever down, it'll actually hit the grill. So you're just leaning over it. So it kind of sucks. It really does. And you know, 4th gens aren't this bad, especially on like just a chrome front end 4th gen. You can actually stand in the bumper. You're not going to tear it up by doing that. But with this thing, there's nowhere to stand on anything, and everything's painted. So it's just a real pain. But next thing I have to do is modify the rocker box. The rocker box will actually hit the head studs. So we'll have to take, I have a carbide bit. See if I can find it and show you guys. I really hope I know where this thing's at. Here it is, thank God. So we'll use this guy here on air, and we'll basically hog out parts of the rocker box so that way they don't hit the head studs. And I'll probably go ahead and get that done and then put the valve cover back on and just kind of get everything on that side wrapped up. And I'm probably going to go ahead and throw this intake on while I'm here, or make sure I can. I don't think I'm going to need an aftermarket injection line for that. It already has like this divot in it, but after looking at it, I don't really know. So hopefully we have all the stuff to put it on. So yeah, I'm going to get all that done, kind of get everything put back together on this side of the engine, valve cover back on, all that good stuff. And then we will move on to, I have to run to town and grab a 4-to-5 adapter for the downpipe. It does have a nice wrapped downpipe, but it's a 5-inch exhaust, so we got to tie into that down there. So I'll get all the stuff up here put back together, and then we will put the exhaust manifold, or the exhaust housing on the manifold. It has a little spacer there I got to install because it's an upside down mount. And then we will probably at that point have to go and run and grab our adapter, and then we will try and get our downpipe hooked up. And then really at that point, all it's going to be is just, I have to reroute this coolant line here. This has to be redone, and then we can just kind of start putting it back together. All right guys, a couple hours went by. I tried for the last probably 2 hours to put this intake on, but something's wrong with how it was made and it just doesn't fit. This indentation here for the injection line is in the wrong spot, and then the bolt that came with to bolt the turbo to the manifold are too short, so I gotta go get new bolts. And I got the rocker box all machined out, ready to rock, so that's good. Got that done. And then the rockers. I noticed whenever I started putting them back together, started putting the rockers back on, and this is the first time I've ever put head studs in a 5th gen, so this is the first time I've ever had the rockers off. You guys, if you ever do this to your truck, you need to keep this in mind. There's a procedure that you need to follow when you put these rocker pedestals back on, because they fill with oil when you take them out, and you'll go to start tightening them and you'll immediately notice it if you've done anything on one of these before. And that's when I stopped. I was tightening them, it's pushing both valves down. So you only go to like 5 foot-pounds, it's like 61 inch-pounds. So 61 inch-pounds, you tighten them all, make sure they're all lined up good, tighten them all 61 inch-pounds, wait 15 minutes, and then you torque it to the final 27 foot-pounds. And whenever you're waiting in between, all the oil was coming out of the roller lifter deal, and it's just something that you have to do, because if not, they're full of oil and it'll make piston to valve contact. So something to keep in mind. Now, the chances of you actually having this thing back together before they were to bleed, not have time to bleed off, is unlikely unless you were just busting ass. But if you threw the rockers back on immediately and then started with the valve cover off, it would likely ruin the engine. So just something to keep in mind if you guys work on a fit gen that has the non-adjustable rockers, the oil-filled roller lifter rockers. Yeah, keep that in mind. I immediately caught it and I was like, something's not right here. It's pushing both valves down. And I was able to make a phone call and figure out that that's the procedure that I need to do. So that's good to go. That intake really sucked. I've been fighting with that forever, trying to get it on. It won't fit. And then I'm getting ready to mount the exhaust housing, and the bolts are too short. So stuff you're gonna run into whenever you're doing a big job like this, custom stuff, but we gotta run to town, get a bunch of parts, and we'll be back. All right, boys, I'll give you a quick update real quick before I go in for the day. Wow, it has been a freaking day. There's a lot of stuff on these fit gens that requires modification to do these second gen swaps. I ran and got those parts earlier, got back, and got the exhaust manifold bolted to it, and then I quickly realized that there's plastic right here that runs alongside the firewall, and it was very clearly gonna hit the manifold, and I was like, well, crap. So I texted my buddy Andy Roby from Fire Punk. Look how dirty I am, from Fire Punk. He has pretty much identical truck to this with compounds. And I asked him, what'd you guys do for that? And they did exactly what I'm doing here. So basically about right there on that side of the valve cover, I tried to do it in a clean spot to try and make it look as factory as possible. You basically cut that plastic, and then you just have these two pieces of loom that are just gonna kind of come out, or these two pieces of wire that are just gonna kind of be hanging out here. And we also had to cut the coolant tank, had to cut the ear off of it. And we're gonna I'm gonna run to town right now to grab dinner, and while I'm there, I'm gonna grab some stuff. I'm gonna grab a piece of exhaust loom, and I'm gonna loom all that and then zip tie it up to the cowl, and then we'll have plenty of room to get to basically protect it from getting too hot. The drain's on, the feed's on, turbo's mounted. The only really thing we have left to do is, let's see here, basically just putting the side back together. The valve cover is all back on, all that stuff is done with the head studs. So yeah, we're basically just in the assembly process. I still have to modify this coolant hose, but just thought to give you guys an update. I'm gonna catch back up with you guys tomorrow. For now, I'm gonna run to town, grab dinner, hit the hay for the night. We'll catch back up in the morning. Guys, I'm just getting out here for day 2, and today's goal, I think, I can't get the exhaust. I can't do it by myself. I need help, someone to help me hold the downpipe. So, in the meantime, I think I'm gonna put all this stuff right here back together. The compressor wheel, put the intake tube on, and just try and get all that stuff wrapped up in the meantime. And then later tonight, when Bailey or someone can stop by, we can knock out the downpipe and try to figure out how we're gonna hook it into the truck. I got a little adapter here that should allow us to do so. Just a little 4 to 5 adapter and some nice clamps. And I talked with you guys yesterday about how we had to take that wiring harness, that wiring shield out, and I got the stuff to basically fix that right here. It's this heat shield. I got a couple different kinds. One is basically like a Velcro, so I'll use this one in the wiring harness. And then this one is just a slip over. I'm gonna use this one on the battery cable. So, and then we got some exhaust clamps for the exhaust. But yeah, so I'm gonna just start putting this stuff here back together, and hopefully it shouldn't take too long. Shouldn't take more than a couple hours to get all this stuff wrapped up here. And then the only thing we'll be waiting on to put the truck all the way back together is gonna be the exhaust. Also have a little breather vent thing I need to install real quick here. Yeah, has a little filter there, so I'll get that put on too, but it's going pretty smooth, guys. So ton of work to do these fit gen swaps. All right, guys, I've been fighting. Let's see, we started the charge pipes at not too bad. About an hour and a half is how long it took me to put that pipe on and the compressor. And it is just super tight. The problem I was running into is I was trying to get it away from this positive post on the alternator. It was wanting to be really close to it. So I really had to work with it, but I was able to get it to where I'm pretty happy with it. It fits pretty good. You want to be careful, make sure your turbo spins freely before you completely tighten it up. Make sure it's not hitting the cover anywhere. It does kind of rub this AC line, but I may just take that pin right there out and it'll just have to just be out of it. But you want to be careful. But, well, there's actually a hose behind here and there's this protective layer. So, I mean, the worst thing it's probably going to do is rub that powder coat, but all the clamps are tight. You can see down in there, it's just a really tight fit. And it barely clears, but it does. It clears everything. The pipe doesn't touch anything except this little AC line. There was a lot of powder coat on the V-bands where they meet, and it was not wanting, the clamps are not wanting to compress and make a tight seal, so I really had to clean on that for a while and get that stuff as clean as I could get it, but we are moving right along. Next thing I'm gonna do is probably do this little breather thing. Go ahead and open this guy up here. This guy put on, just goes on like that, clamp, and then it just goes right there on that little guy that sticks out of the valve cover. But yeah, so got the cold side all done. It really wasn't that bad. I think the Evil Fab, this is an Evil Fab kit, and I think they do a really good job on these. It's really tight, but it's a really, really clean, perfect fitting. It's perfect, but now keep in mind, guys, you have to be patient when you're putting this on. You're not just gonna slam dog it on, tighten it up and go. It's not OEM, it's not factory. They're not making thousands and thousands, well, they might be, but they're not mass producing like a vehicle part. This is, it's a custom kit, and it's, you know, it fits good, but it's also V-band. You get what I'm trying to say. I don't have anything bad to say about the Evil Fab kit, how it fits, or any kit in general, but when you're doing something like this, just keep in mind that, you know, it's not meant to go there. So they had to custom design this stuff, but it does fit really nice. Like, I'm happy with it. I think Alex is gonna be happy with it too. But next step is gonna be, I'm just gonna start putting everything back together up here, so that way I'm pretty much ready to rock. And then tonight, all we gotta do is put the downpipe on it, and if I had the exhaust hooked up, we could start this thing in like an hour. But yeah, so that's how we're going, guys. All right, guys, I wanna show you how I had to modify this coolant line. Well, the tank, obviously I showed you guys last night. You have to cut this part of the tank off, and then you have to put this little nipple deal here over it, because you're no longer gonna use that. And then the last thing you have to do, well, if you see behind that block heater cord back in there, there's a little plug you have to put in to plug the coolant off. I think that's the feed to the turbo, or maybe the return, I can't remember. And then you have to change this whole hose. So that's coming out of your heater core. It comes back to right here, and then that gives you a little Y, and then that goes to the bottom of the tank. And then this, you want to be real careful about this, because you don't want this stuff rubbing on anything. So, you know, keep that in mind. But we got it to where I don't think it's going to rub anything too bad. And I zip tied it here to this AC line there. Not super tight, just kind of tight enough to hold it. And then it loops around. I zip tied it right here to another AC line, and then it goes into an AN fitting, push lock AN fitting right there. You guys can see, and then I put it's a push lock, but it's not very tight, so I put a clamp on it too, and then it just goes into the housing. So now I'm going to probably I'll probably start messing now with the wiring that goes over the top of the cowl. And all right, guys, intake piping's all on, turbo blanket's on. I'm wrapping these two wires here in the loom. And then I'm gonna put that heat shield back on top of it, zip tied up to the cowl. The downpipe is hooked up, but I gotta hook it up down there. And then this coolant line here is gonna be a little bit of a problem. I'm gonna have to reroute it somehow because it's rubbing the downpipe, and we can't have that. So we're gonna have to modify that a little bit somehow. Thought about maybe cutting this a little bit, bringing it up higher, and then I don't know, I might run on top of the AC lines, but we'll figure it out. As we're getting really, really close now. I did have to redo, let me see if I can find my freaking light, and I'll show you guys. We had to redo this coolant, this three-way coolant thing. I ended up running it over the top of the AC line, and it is touching it, but it's not super crazy on as far as how much pressure it's putting on it, so it should be fine. And then I had to, obviously, I flipped the Y, so it's like that now. Zip tied there, and then zip tied over there. But it should be good to go. The down pipe, I still got to get it hooked up. I may have to run to Bailey's to grab a piece of 5-inch exhaust for it. And then I got to find out what to do with this thing here. I don't really know what to do with all this extra nonsense. But yeah, I got the Evil Energy little breather port on there, battery box back in. Pretty much hooked the exhaust up, filled up with coolant, and it's good to go. And then we'll see if we have any leaks. I'm not gonna be alarmed if there is a leak. Guys, there's a lot here that we messed with, so on a job like this, start it and just let it run and look at everything, because chances are, whenever you mess with that many connections, there's probably a leak somewhere. If not, you just got really lucky. So yeah, I really like the way this turned out though. Over the top of the turbo, we can stick our fingers in there, and they're both heat wrapped, so that'll be good. The wiring harness there turned out really good. I did have to cut it a little bit. I don't really like how when I cut it, it kind of frayed it a little bit, but it was just too long. So, and then it's loomed all the way over on that side up to where it goes back into the factory wiring, plastic piece. But yeah, down pipe's on. You can't even see it. I know. There you can get a little glimpse at it. Got to get it hooked up down there to the rest of the truck exhaust. All right, guys, got it fired up. I'm just checking for leaks. Gotta look everywhere and make sure we don't have any leaks. Just check everything. Every little thing. It's looking good so far. All right, guys, now I'm pretty relieved. This first startup went pretty good. We don't have any major leaks. It sounds good, so whew, a little bit of weight off my shoulders. Been working on this for like 15, 16 hours. Had a lot of stuff apart on it, but everything's looking good. All right, guys, we have already took the truck on a quick drive. I didn't want to do any recording because I was trying to be really cautious and drive it a little bit, stop, check, make sure there's no leaks. And I can't find a single leak on this thing, so we have the inner fender well out. Just got some zip ties on it to hold the fenders from flying off, the fender covers, but I don't see any leaks anywhere, so we are going to take this thing down the road again and keep burning all the coating off the manifold and stuff. It's smelling pretty bad, making some smoke. So all right, guys, cruising in the truck here. I'm gonna pull over and we'll kind of get an exhaust clip. Now obviously this is not my truck, so we're not gonna get on it too hard, but I am gonna accelerate kind of quick so you guys can get an idea how it sounds, and just because we're just trying to make sure we don't have any boost leaks or anything weird like that. So I'll pull over up here and we'll get a good exhaust clip. It seems to spool pretty good. The turbo's a 728710. And it, like I said, it seems to spool all right, so everything should be good. Guys, everything looks to be going good so far on the 5th gen. Came over here to Mason's, check out his truck, and to pick up my new turbo for the 2nd gen. Let's see what's going on under here. Now guys, to kind of put some in perspective, that truck that's sitting out there with stock fuel has the same exact size turbo. Like everything about it is the same as this one, and you can barely spool it. P-pump and a 5.9 will just barely spool one of those, but that truck there, you can just drive it like stock and pull a trailer. So it's pretty crazy, but Mason has got all this stuff hooked back up. Looks like he got most of the wiring done. We're actually gonna try and maybe go to the drag strip tomorrow. We're gonna try.
Seems like it's gonna stay nice.
Weather's, as long as the weather's nice, got the nitrous hooked up, turbos setup's looking nice and clean, and he got his new, damn dude, that looks pretty good. Mason actually welded this stainless, it is stainless, yeah, stainless hood stack, and then now it has the cowl hood on it. Yeah, so it looks good. We got 467 from Smetty. Ooh, it's covered in oil. I don't want to put that in that truck. I guess I'll take the box. At least we could see it. New gasket down there to put her on. I just got to get a manifold. And the second gen will be ready to rip as well, so. Checking out, everything's good to go on it. The only thing I have to do is put the fender well back in and wire up the rock lights. Had to cut those, had to cut the wire for it, so I have to splice that back in and then load up all the stock stuff, and this thing will be ready to go home. But yeah, pretty happy with it. Drives really nice, and yeah, I just thought this would be a good part of the video to kind of do a walk around on the second gen, which is my new truck, just to kind of show you guys a little bit around it. It is kind of raining, so that sucks. We'll have to just deal with it. But basically, the truck it's a 2002. It's got Carly suspension system on it. It's got limiting straps, king shock, remote reservoirs, Carly control arms. It's got an upgraded leaf pack in the back where it's a bunch of small ones instead of less springs but bigger. They're smaller, but there's more of them. It's got kings in the back, 20 by 12 TIS off-road wheels with Turo 33s. It is a leather truck with a automatic transmission with a ratchet shifter and an anteater. So the truck was originally a 6-speed. It's been swapped to an automatic. So this is how you control the trans, but the interior is really nice. Leather, just all around really nice. Headliner's in good shape. We got some fuel pressure, turbo, boost, and pyro gauge. It's got new carpet in it. From where the 6-speed swap was done, he put new carpet in. It's got subs under the back seat. Engine-wise, we got an Edge comp box. We got, oh my gosh, it's already starting to pick up the rain. We got a 576580 T3 3-piece manifold. Everything's powder coated. It's got Ducky 125 horse, which is like a 7x9 injector, fleece coolant bypass, and yeah, that's pretty much it done to the engine. Well, the engine is firing. It's firing, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Hello. Yeah, he powder coated everything real nice. I gotta put an AC belt on it, but this turbo is gonna be up for grabs if you guys want it. It's just a little too small for what I want. It's a 576580. I'm gonna put that 6787 or 678390 T4 on it, 400 frame. And yeah, so here's the truck, guys. Just thought I'd show it to you, like an actual good walk around, not just me buying it and driving it home. It's got a 4-inch exhaust on it, and yeah. Either way, anyways, my camera's getting rained on, and I need to go in and get cleaned up and edit this video for you guys. So appreciate you for stopping by. Maybe we'll get 1 or 2 more driving videos of this thing tomorrow, and whenever Alex comes to pick it up, maybe we'll get him driving it, get his reaction driving it with the big single. And yeah, I got a lot of cleaning to do, but I'll get to that tomorrow. And this thing is just about wrapped up. So without further ado, guys, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of the 5th gen and how it all turned out. I like the collar combo. It fits pretty well. It's like Iron Man, as Chad said. But yeah, so anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. We'll see you guys on the next one.